Hello, Dental Speaker Institute. Welcome and thank you for joining us. Today, I'm here with Maria Fuertes, who is representing CareStack, one of our sponsoring partners for Jumpstart 2021. We so appreciate our partners and especially CareStack for supporting dental speaker and consultant education. It makes such a difference for our group to be able to have high level education and be able to grow their businesses. And so a big shout out to CareStack today. And I had invited Maria here to share with us a little bit more about who CareStack is, what their services are, how they can help you in your practice or your clients in their practices. But first, let's go to know Maria. So welcome, Maria.
Thanks so much, Vanessa. And I have to tell you, we really do appreciate being the partner for Dental Speakers Institute. It's a pleasure to grow that partnership, in fact. And thanks for having me here on your platform.
Oh, absolutely. You're very welcome. So let's get started, Maria. For those who don't know you yet, tell us a little bit about your journey in dental and ultimately how you became associated with CareStack.
Sure. Well, I've worked in the dental space for over 24 years. So you can say that 24 years ago, I went through a quarter of a life crisis versus a midlife crisis. So I held a leadership role in the retail industry. And during that time, I felt that I wanted to make an impact at a deeper level. You know, I was helping women feel good about themselves, feel confident in their new wardrobes or their new expensive purse, if you will. But there was something in me that I felt like, there's something else that I want to do, and I wanted to make an impact in people's lives. So, the tiger parents, my parents being tiger parents, for those of you that have one or both, that voice in me, like, be a doctor, be a nurse, be a lawyer. And so I can't do any of that because number one, I faint in the sight of blood. So, I said, I want to help people in a different way. And that's actually how I came into the dental industry, because I've seen first and foremost how we've actually impacted people's lives instantaneously, where a person could have been hurting for quite some time and we take them out of pain, or a woman or even an executive who was always, when he smiled, he was always doing this, and putting him through orthodontia, he was then, smiling confidently, taking them through that journey. And then also, I remember a patient who, gosh, at 76, finally was able to bite into a piece of steak, and I remember his wife calling us and very much into tears and saying to us, thank you so much for, making a difference in my husband's life. So that is where I knew for a fact that this is for me.
Oh,
yep.
That's
yes.
fabulous. I bet that there are a lot of dental professionals that share those same feelings toward our profession. It tends to attract people who care about others. And thank you for sharing that.
Oh, most definitely. And, through my journey prior to getting to CareStack, I've actually started in the orthodontic field, where I was managing and opening de novos for a large group practice in Southern California. And, I was able to forge great relationships with orthodontists there, as well as some dentists, because it was, dental and ortho at the same time. And they basically put me through the paces. I got my learning chops, no pun intended, if you will, in knowing why one, orthodontist diagnoses from another. And my retail sales kicked in. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is that I was all about the customer experience. And so I folded that in an orthodontic practice where, it should be a positive patient experience from the moment the patient called to the time that they checked in, to the handout to the clinical team, back to us scheduling again, and to when they're receiving the statement. It has to be 100%. And so we always work on that. And then, of course, moving forward to a multi-specialty practice, my operational DNA kicked in, as well as sharpening my listening skills, if you will, because specialists, different types of specialty, there were a lot of nuances, if you will. And so I had to start building the foundation of trust and always, continuous communication. And with that, we were able to develop processes and systems where we kept the inflow referrals coming in. But most importantly, we, wanted to make sure that we kept an open line of communication to the referring dentists so that they know that we're taking care of their, of our shared patients, if you will.
Well, you've got a varied background. I didn't realize that you had all of that different type of experience. That must really help you with your work at CareStack.
Yes, it has. Back then, fast forward from multi-specialty, I, landed a role as a director of operations for a large DSO, and went really deep dive into learning the profit and loss statements, knowing that looking at the data, and taking and enacting on that, and really seeing that there's areas of opportunity where we were doing great and where we could do better.
Mm.
So most definitely. And then of course, we understood that technology was very important. And back then when I was working, it was like a DOS-based software. So we had to create like workarounds, if you will, in getting the reporting to give us the data that we needed. So we knew how to scale the practice as well as ensuring that we continue to have positive patient experience.
Mm.
So software was very much back then. I didn't know that it was important to me, and it's obviously important to a practice and organization.
Yeah. Yeah. DOS for those younger viewers or listeners. Disk operating system that was pre-Windows days. I was
Right.
a computer programmer pre-Windows. That's so fun to hear. We don't hear people talk about DOS much, but man, I'm impressed with such a wide range of experience. So ultimately, what brought you to CareStack?
Well, first and foremost, we found that there was a need to tie in operations as well, as well as we're demoing the software. So therein lies of me leading the Practice Heroes program.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm the director of Practice Heroes. We're a dynamic group of individuals who are working in the dental industry, and with a combined experience of 15 years, they hold roles in management, operation leaders, patient and financial coordinators, as well as consultants. And so we are a resource to clients that are actually doing their due diligence, if you will, in searching for that software, whether it's cloud-based or legacy, but they come to us because they can see that we have an all-in-one, cloud-based software. And we'll go into that deeper, obviously. But we would like to say that we help our clients work on their business than in their business. And we also help tie in their current workflows. How can they do that efficiently with CareStack? Help them create workflows, if you will, and show them how to optimize their day-to-day operations while using CareStack.
Well, systems and operations is such an important piece of the business of this, right? I mean, like
Right.
many times dentists are not taught a great deal about that in a dental school, from what I understand. So it's wonderful that they have people who can guide them. So the practice heroes, are those actually your teammates or who?
Yeah. So we have several people that, are currently CareStack clients, if you will. So they're working day to day, right? So they know the software ins and outs, and they're great to have on board because sometimes we have clients that are doing their due diligence, and they can then communicate and show the clients that, hey, this is what you're doing now, but actually, if you were to do it this way in CareStack, see how efficient you can become. You can be more efficient, as well as creating a better workflow for your team. So we have our CareStack clients who are part of our Practice Heroes, as well as cohorts that are subject matter experts, if you will.
Oh, wow.
So,
Those are great
yep.
titles.
Yes. I mean, we have somebody who's, I would say superpowers is schedule blocking or block scheduling, if you will, smart scheduling. That's for Wheelhouse. We have another one who is very well versed in the billing segment. So we put our talents together, and we meet with our clients, whether they're current clients of CareStack or the ones that are doing their due diligence and finding that cloud-based software.
Ah, fabulous, fabulous. Thank you for that explanation. So that leads us actually into my next question. Thank you for queuing that up for me.
Sure.
So, because I was going to ask you, to tell us a little bit more about CareStack. I think there are so many solutions of all types in the industry, right? And so I think it helps our speakers and consultants if they're not working with CareStack now and they're like, I don't really know what they offer. I heard you mention it's an all-in-one solution. Could you take us at a high level? What does that mean? Like what is the solution that CareStack offers?
So it's 100% cloud-based, right? So we have basically two types of clients. Clients that are actually having to use third-party software so that they're having that software fatigue. And there's clients that are also wanting to scale. So what I mean by all-in-one, the clients that are, going through their software fatigue, they're having to bolt on along, with their current legacy software, let's say, patient engagement software, software to handle their reviews, their patient reviews, or another type of third party to handle their online scheduling and patient portal. So, they're having to manage all those three different softwares along with their legacy software, if you will. So they're really fatigued. They're tired of managing that. So all in one, all inclusive, we have a very powerful patient engagement system. It's already built into the software. Our patient portal is very robust. We've actually added a way for patients to upload their ID card, insurance ID card, as well as their driver's license, if that's what the patient, that practice is needing.
That's cool.
Yep, text to pay. That's all inclusive. The Google reviews are inclusive. The online scheduling, we work with your website. You can basically set your parameters. It's 100% customizable. So we also have, clients that are wanting to scale, and they may have a group of practices where providers may schedule differently. And that's okay, because you know what? They can basically customize the way they schedule their day-to-day, right? And so we find that our clients need to have those boxes checked, if you will. And CareStack does that for them.
That's awesome. I know what you mean about the fatigue, right? Because there's so many different solutions, and then it feels like to learn a whole nother software package on, then you add that is 5 or 6 of them and have team members trained in all of them and to maintain them. And it's just, there's so much to it. It's really cool that you guys have pulled that all together. And thank you for that high level explanation. I anticipate that some of our listeners may want to know more about the details and get into deeper detail, which probably would be best for them to, have a demo or spend some time one-on-one. Many of our listeners, many of our members at DSI are clinicians, either doctors or hygienists, or, they're working on the clinical side in a practice or their own practice, but also quite a few of our speakers and consultants are either practice management and they're not working currently in as an employee. And what I'm trying to say is there's a broad range of listeners, those who either might want to bring this into their own practice or share it with some of their clients that they work with. I know that you have a demo link, and I'd be happy to put that in the comments
Please,
when we
yes.
post this on social media, but also with YouTube with the link there so that they can reach out. Now, will that go directly to you? Will they be speaking to you for the demo?
No, actually, it will be. It's actually a link for Jim Gerson. He's our VP of Business Development. You know Jim. He's very popular. He basically, so we will definitely connect the client to Jim, and we will get them scheduled for booking. But I think it's wonderful for your customer base or client base, if you will, on your platform to see this, because what we find too is that a lot of our providers love that they can customize their charting and their notes. There's smart logic built into it so that claims can go out without being denied. So there's a lot of things that they would enjoy seeing, I would have to say, and I was a former client of CareStack.
Oh.
So yes, that's how I came into technology, knowing the fact that for an organization or practice to run efficiently, productively, and smartly, if you will, as well as maintain that positive patient experience, you have to have the software to support you. CareStack does that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I used to work in a medical office years ago, and I'm just, I mean, literally like over 2 decades ago, and I'm blown away by how much of the systems, how many of the processes are automated now. Is such a real boost for the businesses. That's wonderful. You mentioned Jim, and thank you for telling us that's Jim's link. So we met Jim virtually at Jumpstart. He shared with us a little bit about CareStack, but we also had at the conference Dr. Glenn Vo, Dr.
Yes.
Chris Hoffpower, and Dylan Casanova. I believe we're all three there, if I remember correctly, at this Jumpstart. And so it's so fun to get to meet your team and to get to learn more about CareStack. Is there anything important that we haven't covered that we might want to share before we sign off?
Well, I think what I'd like to say is that, because of course I don't want to come off as if I'm selling the product, you know, basically I'm not, because I'm a former, client. I was using it day to day. And what I'm hearing from our clients that come on board, CareStack gives them the tool and the firepower, if you will, for them to really handle their day-to-day operations in a more optimized manner. And because there's also a shortage, and I'm sure you're hearing it, there's a lot of shortage of employees out there, that you'll find that CareStack can also, if setting it up smartly, can do a lot of the work for you, if you will. So there are many people now in practices that are having to wear many hats, right? So, people want to schedule in the back office, they can do that, specifically with CareStack, sends them an appointment reminder right then and there, if you will. So it does a lot of the work for you in upstream, if that makes sense.
For sure. It's about taking advantage of the technology that's available so that you can be more efficient, right? So you can actually scale your business and bring in more money, but not really necessarily increase the expenses. So utilize those tools that are out there to be able to be more efficient. And ultimately, I think for me, it's also about giving you more time to be with patients and really take, your patient care can be more of a focus.
And that's what we're finding that more clients are wanting to have, is not having to worry about the reporting or their notes, what have you. They want to make sure that their day-to-day runs smoothly. Yeah. And then also Practice Heroes is we're expanding, obviously, and we're doing a really great job in basically connecting the dots for the clients that are going through their implementation journey. That's one important thing that I forgot to say. So we got CareStack, the software, but the fact is that we have a white glove system experience, if you will, for all of our clients that are converting to CareStack. Not only do they have a CareStack University that they have hands-on training, it's not just a YouTube video, if you will, but they also have, it's interactive and quizzes that kind of sets you through the paces. As well as, a client will have a sandbox for the demo. It's basically a duplicate of their data. So not only are they learning CareStack University, and they're probably assigned certain types of lesson plans or lesson paths, if you will, depending on their role, but they can also go into their sandbox and, create an appointment, pretend that they're billing out a claim by using their patient data, if you will, but it's a duplication of that. So they can't. So fun. Yeah, they can't break the system. They can't, right. It's not touching their current system as they're going through implementation. They have an implementation manager that is on hands on deck week to week. Then they're also, after go live and post implementation, they're handed to their client success manager. So throughout the life of CareStack, they're always going to have a resource.
So I hear you saying you have wonderful training tools as well as support along that journey. I love that. I love giving them that sandbox to play in, to learn. That's such an important piece of education, as the people who would be listening into this recording will be speakers and trainers who understand that whole concept. Is, they have to, in order to be able to replicate the skill and be able to really learn, they're going to have to work with it. So that's super smart.
Correct.
Maria, thank you. Now, let me just share contact information for Maria. Her first initial M and last name Fuertes. So that's MFuertes. at carestack.com. I'll put that in our comments. And of course, the website for CareStack is www.carestack, like it sounds.com. And phone number for Maria is 951-840-0621 if you want to reach out and learn more. I'm also going to drop the link for the demo in our comments, and I really encourage you to reach out to find out a little bit more, see if it seems like it might be a fit for your practice, or certainly for those that you consult with, the practices you consult with. Maria, thank you for being here today and sharing with us. Is there a final thought before we run?
No, I'm just very happy to be, part of your platform, Vanessa, and thank you for having me and having me talk about Practice Heroes as well as CareStack. I really enjoyed it. Thank you. And we're hoping that we can get a lot of your client base, if you will, to reach out to me too.
Well, I hope so too, as well.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you everyone for being here. And until next time, be well.
Bye.